गुड मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गन शॉट। गन शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। टुडे इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक। 15 countries have lined up outside, for India and then talked for Brahmos. 15 countries. I didn't know this till it was reported in South China Morning Post. I mean, in my way of looking at it, this is the ultimate endorsement as to who won in Op Sindoor and who lost in Op Sindoor also. When Op Sindoor was going on, in one episode, I said, what did China lose? I did mention it. I said, look, as time goes, you'll know the truth comes up. You can't hide things beyond a point. People will, naturally start shunning Chinese equipment which have failed and gravitate to equipment which has succeeded. And that's the endorsement of your capability in war. You can fool everyone sometimes, right? You can fool some people every time, but you can't fool everyone every time. The Chinese and the Pakistanis have been trying to do that. And now they themselves have got caught in their own trap. And this is an asset trap. The true measure of what happens in a war or a battle is not the immediate, it's the long term effect. And the long term effect is now happening in India, or rather for India. And this is something which I thought I'll put across to all of you today. What started it? Till yesterday I didn't bother about what I was going to speak. I was wanting to speak of rare earths and this and that. Till I saw this article. What did this article say? This is from South China Morning Post of everything. It says India gets global buyer interest for Brahmos missile from Asia to South America. Very interesting. There's so much global interest, right? And why would they get global interest? That's the interesting part. This is a killer paragraph. India's indigenous air defense and strike systems demonstrated exceptional performance, intercepting hundreds of Pakistani drones and missiles. Not a single Pakistani projectile hit its target. And then they say, the Pakistani narrative and the Chinese narrative stops at 6, 1 to 6, 6-0. 6-0 is their narrative without proof. That's it. And what's that led to? We'll come to that. We'll come to the 6-0 part also. But 9 terrorist camps, 11 airfields, n number of Pakistani and Chinese air defense systems destroyed. These are living proof that Pakistan has got walloped. Right? This is important. Yeah. I like this. ABC123 says, please like and hit that share button and tag your friends so that you can enjoy it too. I mean it. And this coming from China, of all people. I mean, just imagine. It's so interesting, so nice to listen to this. Finally, China admitting defeat in some manner. The long-term effect of a war is only, the effect of a war is always long-term. The article says at least 15 countries, at least, there are more, from Asia to South America are in talks for Brahmos. He says cross-border, this is what the South China Morning Post says, cross-border strikes against Pakistan enhance the global profile of the Indian weapon industry. It's not Brahmos, Indian weapon industry. Now there's a broader context to this. Right. And he says the use of Brahmos in Op Sindoor provided real-time validation of, is it real-time validation? of India's capabilities as its strong performance during an operational deployment was the ultimate proof of its prowess for global defense buyers. I said this in that long back. I said, if you are in the business of buying weapons for your country, which weapons will you buy? I had said that at that time itself. If I were in the business, I would go for weapons which were, battle tested. And I'll give you this example from my personal thing. When I was dealing for the M777, I remember people used to ask me, why are you rooting for the M777? I said, all things aside, M777 has, proven itself in battle. I want a battle tested weapon. Okay, battle testing. And then next paragraph he says that credibility boost appears to be translating into demand, potential demand, credibility boost. They are talking of India. According to reports, countries showing interest in Brahmos include Thailand, Singapore, Brunei, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, Oman, Brazil, Chile, Argentina, and Venezuela. I didn't know this. The Chinese are reporting this. And then he says, of course, the Philippines signed a deal. We know that in 2022, 375 million. And Vietnam and Indonesia are also in the process of a deal, 700 million with Vietnam and 450 with Indonesia. They'll get a battery or two and whatever they want to. So this is about to take off. What's more, he says, the larger thing, India's shift from being a largely import dependent military force to an emerging defense exporter. And all this, he says, is enabled by Make in India initiative, deeper integration across DRDO, PSUs, private firms. India is now building credible battle proven systems. India is now seen as a reliable, trusted partner. And of course, in May, we opened a new plant in UP to make 100 missiles a year. I mean, it's not easy to make a missile. We have one plant in Hyderabad, one plant now in this. And then further, this article says a wide range of items from ammunition, arms, subsystems, and systems to components was exported to around 80 countries in the last financial year. Defense exports have risen by 12% compared to previous year. Very big. And our target is, $6 billion by 2029. My guess is if all these go through, we will be hitting that in the next 2 years. And this is only Brahmos. What about others? We'll talk of that also. Then it keeps coming. Indigenous air defense and strike systems demonstrated exceptional performances, intercepting hundreds of Pakistani drones and missiles. Not a single Pakistani projectile hit its target. So what is Pakistan jumping about that they hit all this and all that? The Chinese are saying they didn't hit anything and that we intercepted everything. When the Chinese are saying this, they are against Pakistan. What do you say? Isn't it the ultimate victory for India? But then he said, China ka hai. So he says, China retains dominant position in volume, pricing, and established networks and all. India needs to match China on quantity, not quality. They're not talking of quality, quantity. And then he says, India's, the threat assessment hai unka. India's competitive edge may not lie in volume, but in trust, especially with buyers in regions like Southeast Asia and Gulf who value strategic alignment. This is again, I don't know why they've written this article. I don't know. Sambhagar and South China Morning Post is gonna hang for this. It by innotation, it tells that these are the values India has and China has not doesn't have it. And Brahmos shows it's only the beginning and what's possible ahead. If this momentum is sustained and India develops broader capability, reliable delivery, and consistent political support, sky is the limit. And India is carving out a niche through precision systems like Brahmos and its democratic, non-aligned appeal. Someone has done an absolutely great job in South China Morning Post to promote India. I don't know why. All at some point of time, all such propaganda comes to naught. And then, so I went and searched what's the impact of Sindoor and, Chinese weapon systems and, globally. Again, very, very interesting kind of a story which has come out. Now, it says Pakistan, a major operator of Chinese military equipment, is reassessing its defense procurement strategy. Okay? Due to the underwhelming performance of Chinese systems during the conflict. No, this is a global assessment. This is not my assessment. Okay. This has led Pakistan to seek alternatives, including pricier options from Turkey for radar and air defense systems. So Pakistan is definitely not happy with Chinese systems. They're going to Turkey now. Okay. The failures. No, this is not South China Morning Post. This is an international assessment. The failures of Chinese weapons during the operation have damaged China's reputation as a global arms exporter and may accelerate a decline in the arms exports, according to analysts. My thing is this: after Op Sindoor, it's only Brahmos which has got orders, or India only has got orders. Even Pakistan is moving away from China. And everyone said, oh, China, J-10, Rafale, P-15 missile, all that nonsense, 6-0, we hit. India lost, China won, Pakistan won. All that nonsense has gone for a toss because no one is ordered for any one little, nothing from China. China, if it had got good orders, and really, it would have blown it to the sky. See how big we are and how great orders we are getting, revival of Chinese economy, greatness of Chinese weapon systems, all that. That's not happened. The flip has happened. And for some reason, I don't know why they've published it. Is it because of RIC that they want to get closer to India? Is it a case that China wants Indian technology, defense technology? I mean, it's absolutely today I'm very happy because there's nothing better than your enemy acknowledging that you are better than them. Okay. He's acknowledged it in some long roundabout manner in terms of defense exports and all. But that's great. And where does it leave Pakistan and China? Then he says some sources suggest that the underperformance of Chinese weapon systems, we'll put it fully. Yeah, the underperformance of Chinese weapon systems has boosted the export potential of India's indigenous defense products such as Brahmos, which has garnered interest internationally. Despite the battlefield setbacks. Some reports suggest China is aiming to leverage the Indo-Pakistan conflict to accelerate its ambitions of becoming a top-tier global supplier, challenging the dominance of the USA and Russia. It has no option, but will it succeed? I don't think. Yeah. Sources point to China's deafening silence regarding the performance of its arms in Pakistan. That's interesting. People are talking of deafening silence from China. And okay, some countries might still consider Chinese arms export due to their flexible prices, potentially bypassing stringent verification process and sanctions. I mean, Pakistan will still go for Chinese stuff because China will give it at whatever costs, and they have no choice. So will other countries, many Africa and all that. Right? In essence, the last paragraph, Operation Sindoor seems to have exposed vulnerabilities in Chinese military technology and spurred some countries to seek alternatives, particularly in Pakistan. China also appears to be actively trying to leverage the situation to bolster its position as a global arms supplier, finding potential avenues for increase in defense exports. See, war is a risky thing. That's why I say every time I keep saying war is a risky phenomenon. You could get out of proportion dividends or you could get out of proportion losses. And China bagged Pakistan completely. We know that now. And in that backing, they've lost. And as that lost, their Chinese weapon systems have been exposed, and now they're losing orders. Now, what is the impact of losing these orders? Also, one must understand the impact of losing these orders is influence, and we'll talk of that next. What has happened? This is the Taiwanese. I'll give you a few views and then I'll take you through their analysis. Right? It says Taiwan says India's weapons are cost effective, reliable. And Taiwan sees more, scope for it, interaction. So what is the effect of this? So if India and Taiwan tomorrow do a deal, you started influencing Taiwan's defense. We feel that look, China is supported by Pakistan and Bangladesh wants to sell, or rather, China wants to sell weapons to Bangladesh and arm it and all that. We can return that compliment. Make Taiwan happy, and China will be unhappy. That means you have stretched your influence to the Western Pacific. You already done that with Philippines. The South China Morning Post talks of Vietnam and Indonesia deals. If on these four countries your weapons are deployed, and it's only one weapon, more will follow. Your influence will increase. So what has China lost? Go back. I did this video. What has China lost? Every word which I've said in that video is now coming true. Look, I'm very clear on one thing, which I am very proud of, which I keep telling. Whatever analysis I do it without any bias. And I put it across to you. And most of my analysis has come true. Even this. A lot of Pakistanis and Chinese have trolled me on this. It's okay. So what if you're trolled? Your guys are losers. Pakistanis and Chinese are losers. They can't win a battle. They've never won a war. Useless fellows. And then, this is from Jamestown. This is not, it's an international thing. What does he say? He says India has become Armenia's largest defense supplier. This is this is some connotation. I'll just get to that. I'm just showing you the headlines first. Then Australia. Australia has started. Now, see, the analysis is now in Taiwan, Australia, Armenia, all over, and China also. India's defense exports and global power aspirations. So, your defense exports are directly linked to your global power aspirations. And I said this during Op Vijay, Op Sindoor, in my analysis, that the world is seeing the arrival of a global power. This is the beginning. Then people said, yeah, this fellow was a fool. Now look at it. Now look at it. Now I don't see any reason for anyone to say Pakistan won, including in Pakistan or in China. Now I'll come to the analysis part of all these articles. I've just clubbed it together. India has made enormous progress in exporting defense goods. End user restrictions rationalized. Private sector manufacture have brought in so that we can meet growing demand in partner states. And there are more partner states who are coming in. Growth is happening at component level, and the whole platform sales are picking up. Both. The component level sales are milking revenue stream. You're milking the system. And this is, you're selling a cow. It's like that. You sell a cow, let him get the milk, but later you start milking because that cow needs something. It's first year. They are the revenue items, spares, technology, training, repairs. That's a lot. In fact, people don't understand this. When you sell an equipment, defense equipment, to any country, it lasts 30 to 50 years. After all, look at Bofors. We got it in 84. And today we're 40 years down the line. It's still a frontline equipment for us. So 40 years it needs maintenance, repair, all that. Of course, today we do all that ourselves. We are not dependent on anyone. We do it on our own. But smaller countries don't have that capability. So if you sell an equipment to them for the next 30, 40 years, you will keep helping them. They have to come back to you. Relationship forms. Okay. The Indian government needs to play a proactive role through defense attaché and representative to push defense deals. I agree. Arms export are a key instrument of foreign policy, strengthening India's diplomatic influence and regional partnership. This is what I. This is all analysis by outsiders. Okay, and they quote the example of USA. He says USA makes NATO countries and non-NATO states like Japan and South Korea dependent on its weapons and defense technology exports. So you build dependencies when you do defense exports. And then he says US does not only influences these countries, but they also serve Washington's interests. So this is where you are. And the example I've taken is Armenia. Armenia is only one country. Tomorrow it will be Cyprus. Tomorrow, right, it will be Greece. You do that to Cyprus and Greece and Armenia, Turkey is finished. And if you can go to the Middle East and get one or two countries, got on a way. Okay. Supplier states use arms export to create dependencies and strengthen geopolitical leverage. That's what's happening. Argentina and Brazil and Venezuela want Brahmos. So what is the parallel to it, or the thing which conflationary point? The conflation is your influence. You want things from there. You want rare earths, you want oil, you want resources. You'll get them. And that is why that 5 country visit by your prime minister last month alongside the BRICS summit, very important. Please understand what's happening today. In a system where USA, people don't know whether to trust it or not. Fickle. China, no one can trust. Russia is stuck. Europe is muddled. Whom will countries go to? We are always looking at ourselves. Look at around. He says the development of small, robust arms infrastructure requires 3 pillars. Defense industry, a strong defense industry, which I think we have to a large extent. Domestic procurement procedures and research and development. Domestic procurement procedures is something we have to look at. Why? Any equipment which enters the Indian armed forces, people will buy. If it doesn't, they'll not buy. To enter the Indian armed forces, you need to have your own, systems in place so that your procedures are fast. The moment you say, I have this item and I have included it in my inventory, then people will start buying from us. And the faster we do it, the better it is. That means your procurement procedure has to be good. Luckily, one thing I must tell you, our procurement procedures are solid. Everyone recognizes it. It's very difficult to get anything into the Indian Armed Forces. So if anything is there in the Indian Armed Forces, people take it for granted it is good. And that is something we have to do. And then, of course, pricing and reliability. It is a preferred option for countries which can't afford very advanced systems or expensive Western systems. Some countries don't want high-end weapons. They want low-end weapons. And high-end weapons, no one will give them. And there's plenty of room at the bottom for expansion. Then take a case of Armenia. Very interesting. Actually, for me, this article itself, I saw this article yesterday and did a bit of reading here and there. I knew a lot, but for me to get hold of these articles was a bit, I wouldn't say eye-opening. It broadened my horizon of thinking. Armenia has become the largest importer of weapons from India. That whole country is dependent on us. They get Pinakas, Akash, artillery, everything. Right? They've now already imported 600 million worth of weapons from us. Right? We're also going to give, that's what he says, we're going to give them Indian-made howitzers, anti-tank rockets, anti-drone equipment and all to the Armenian army. Now, he says it's in the context of Armenia. Okay. He says the growing defense cooperation between India and Armenia underscores the shifting geopolitical dynamics in the region. We talk of Central Asia, West Asia, the area between West Asia and Central Asia. Okay. For Armenia, partnering with India offers not only advanced military capabilities, but also a new diplomatic and economic pathway towards greater independence and regional security. Yes, Yerevan looks to lessen its reliance on Russia. Very important. You are giving them some freedom to do what they want to do. For India, we get a foothold in the South Caucasus. And we get a strategic heft out there. And this is a region where Pakistan and Turkey. So, our Prime Minister's visit to Cyprus and Greece, very important. You give something to Cyprus and Greece, even in discounted terms, and something to Azerbaijan, Armenia, not Azerbaijan. And whatever you want to do with the Azeris, Azerbaijan, do it through Israel. Turkey is finished. The growing power of India post Sindoor is something which people have to realize. And both countries, as per this analysis, are positioning themselves to leverage each other's strengths in an increasingly multipolar world. You need 4, 5 other countries like Armenia, and you're a power. You're battle tested, reliable, trust, you're economical, and you're an alternative to big players who twist others' tails. And all this now, I'll go back to that video I did a few days back on defense exports. I'll get certain figures in so that you understand the whole story, the bigger picture, and why Sindoor is a victory. Sindoor is not a victory because of that battle. That 4 days you did what you had to do. You sorted out Pakistan, but you sorted out China, and you are now growing bigger. That is the bigger victory. And today, China starts acknowledging that. I mean, at this point of time, we are nowhere in the global race for arms, but we need to get there. We're not there anywhere. Okay. And global military spending is surging. See this. Where's the biggest surge in Americas? Why will this grow? I mentioned this earlier, I'm repeating it now. The way the globe is fractured today, Europe is remilitarizing, right? Complete Southeast Asia is doing something, and they are not sure whether America will come and help them or not. It opens up markets. South America is also now in its own issues. In a fractured world, in this deglobalized world, a lot of conflicts are going to take place. And if these conflicts are to take place, people need weapons. Where will they go? There are civil wars in all these unstable countries. I mean, we don't have to give it to those chaps. We need to be a little realistic about what we are doing. We don't have to give to all these rebels and all these chaps. Don't do the wrong thing. But responsible players, we can supply and get value. Let's be a responsible power. And look at it. Aircrafts are the biggest chunk in global supply, but equally things like missiles, armored vehicles, ships, guns, these are second tier big things. All this you can do. I showed this earlier also. All this is within our grasp. It's just not arms. There are connected industries which are growing at pace because it's connected with the growth of the country. Look at this growth in the aircraft. The number of passengers who are going up, domestic and international. The international is not so growing so much as your domestic air traffic is going to go up. So if your air traffic is going to go up, obviously you're progressing. That means you'll have more aircraft on ground. If you have more aircraft on ground, you need facilities for that. That's technology, MRO, repair, maintenance, turnaround, maintaining airports, airport security. All these are part of the story. And all those technologies for this are completely connected with defense and aerospace. The scope is huge, and our market share is today minimal. And this is a cutout from the Ministry of Defense. right? This is the way our defense exports have grown, but that's not the point. You look at the number of airports which we're going to go up. Currently, we have about 150 airports. In 10 years, not even 10 years, 27. So in about 2-3 years, you're going to go up to 220 airports. See the requirement, market. Look at the number of highways which are coming up. These are communication is the multiplicator of progress. And your defense industry and your defense requirements, technologies, they're all together. If this infrastructure is going, a border infrastructure is going up. We are adding 15 kilometers of rail every day. There's some report which I saw of, I think, BBC or something like that, which says India has added in the past 10 years 31,000 kilometers of railway line, which is equivalent in 10 years, which is equivalent to what Germany has. In 10 years, you created as many railway lines as Germany has. Today, a railway track is going to Azol. It's going to Manipur through Jiribam, Silchar. You've taken a rail to Kashmir. Soon you'll go to Dima. You already in Dimapur. You'll go ahead to Imphal in the east. The multiplicative effect of this is going to be humongous. Those of you who don't understand, I know, I've been to the east, where after a point we had to go only by bus and some useless kind of, going. Complete South Arunachal Pradesh is today connected by rail. So it's just not defense. There are a whole lot of other things which are connected. But if I come back to defense, these are the exports, and this will only grow. And there are a lot of triggers which are happening. What are the triggers for this growth? See, when you do export, that you're creating capacity. When you're in the defense industry, you have your normal requirement which you have the industry for, and an export requirement for which you need capacity. But that export capacity gives you surge capacity. Tomorrow, if there's a war, I don't export. I use that capacity to surge my requirement. Build it and build it at profit. That's what is the opportunity which is opening up in front of us. NATO and US allies want, just now Trump has said everyone has spend up to 5%. That's what NATO has said. They will spend 5% on defense, in which 3.5% will be direct defense and 1.5% on infrastructure. Where will they do it from? Who's got the capacity to make? Can you increase your defense capacities to absorb that requirement? In which case you'll start strengthening. Like everyone talks of France, but can you export something to France? Can you export something to Germany? Can you export guns? Because they don't have capabilities. They don't have the manpower. Can you invest into their defense industry and get technology back? All these are opening up. Understand, battle-tested weapons always have greater value. Trust and reliability factor is high. We all know Chinese systems are unreliable, but they might be cheap, but they're unreliable. Ask the Nigerians, you ask the Bangladeshis, you ask the Pakistanis. Today, Pakistanis are the ones who are running away from Chinese equipment because they have lost because of using Chinese equipment. And you think China will win with their useless equipment? People won't go to US because they're costly and they're rigid. No one gives technology. So there is a lot of value in investing into defense exports. And how do you make it work? I explained this in detail in the last video. I'll repeat it because it's worth repeating in this new context. This is an opportunity, huge opportunity. Why I'm talking again is this opportunity is being endorsed by China. People have to understand it. More people will come. You have to give export incentives to people to export. You need to have strengthen your defense corridors. You need to have better export controls, flexible export controls. You need to do targeted export. That's why I said, why Greece? Why Cyprus? And why Armenia? Turkey. Similarly, is there a case for us to do targeted export in other regions? Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, Vietnam, targeted export. Malaysia, where your acceptability is higher than the Chinese. We will face opposition from China. We will face opposition even from USA. But there is scope. So you need to have built bridges. People keep saying, oh, USA, we should never trust USA. Don't trust USA, but deal with them. Okay. This is a very competitive market. You have to understand that. We aimed small, achieved hell of a lot. Time to continue that process. We need to have a process in place. You need to improve your ability to do certification, trials, MRO, revenue. That's why I said MRO is medium repair. Or people call it maintenance and repair. R&D, joint production. These are the things which you have to start thinking of. You need to have a policy for your military diplomacy and how you're going to garner this influence. Then this thing of military education and training. When that guy comes to India and does a course, he goes back with an impression of India which will never break. I mean, I'll give you an example. When I was doing the National Defense course in Delhi, we went to Korea as an exchange. And their Eastern Naval Fleet Commander had done NDC long back. He came to know that there's an NDC team in Korea. And we had gone to the Hyundai factory in Ulsan. And he was in Busan. His headquarters was in Busan, about 200 odd kilometers away. He came, organized a dinner for us. And we sat together. And he was recounting his stories about NDC. He was so happy to meet our NDC. He says, whatever I am, a lot goes to what NDC taught me. Of course, next day we came and we kept in touch and all that. So a chap who learns, he'll never forget his guru. That is very important. That plus defense exports gives you tremendous leverage. And at this point of time, our system is suboptimal. Let's be very clear. You need an organization, you need policy, you need a joint approach. And this joint approach has to be between services, industry, government, everyone. We have to get our act together. At this point of time, we've stumbled into a gold mine. How do you use this gold mine is up to us. Do you want to go the US FMS model? US has got a very good model called the Foreign Military Service, a sales model. You want to use that? Fine. Do you want to go the Russian method? They also have a model. The Israelis have a model. But whatever it is, you need a bespoke system, which is away from politics, away from government control. Something like the RBI. RBI is a bespoke system. Same thing here. Or for that matter, the stock exchanges. They're working for the government. They're doing everything for the government. They're facilitating everything. But yet, they're not part of the government truly. They front-end not only the government, they front-end the DPSUs, they front-end private industry. American private industry can't sell arms to anyone except through the government. And that is through the FMS. And the FMS gives them the best deal. And because they get political clearance, this, that, everything. And that's how they garner influence. Is there a requirement for us to put in policies in place? Definitely. Because we don't have that at this point of time. Right. So this is what I had to say. Go back to the first, right? The fact that, China comes out with this headline. I'll show that headline again so that we don't lose track where we get. It says again, India gets global buyer interest for Brahmos missile from Asia to South America. So what does it mean? It means that they have accepted defeat, strategic defeat. What happened in Op Sindhu was tactical and operational in nature. Now what you are seeing is strategic victory of India. पाकिस्तान से कोई कुछ खरीदेगा नहीं. No one will buy anything from Pakistan because they have nothing to sell. Okay. Whatever he used to sell, Asim Munir has gone and sold to Trump. Let's see what Trump does to him. But it is China. What you have done is against China. Remember that. Okay. With this, I'll leave this so that during our question answers also this picture is in front of you. Right. Yeah, let's go from this thing. Making, yeah, and I'll get to that later. Sorry. I have some thing. Yeah, Jinka Mamu says, can rare earth elements be mined from ocean waters? I'll get back to you. Look, rare earth elements can be mined from anywhere. And tomorrow, maybe day after, we'll talk of rare earths. I'll answer this question to you tomorrow. Just wait, tomorrow or day after, whenever. West doesn't understand if they play a game with Bharat, Bharat will make the game bigger and beat them at their own game. I agree with you, Sylvia. Thanks a lot. There is no doubt in my mind that we are capable. See, the interesting thing is, till now, people didn't understand this capability of India. This capability is coming forth. Until now, even we didn't understand our own capability. We are coming forth. So, to some extent, we are also in an exploratory mode. New terrain, new environment. So, we need to put our act together. And you can't stop India. That's the fundamental thing. Op Sindoor did to weapons industry what UPI did to fintech and Indian cold vaccine did to pharma industry. Completely agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head. There's a radial development which is taking place in India. India will not become a power just because its UPI industry, it is weapons industry has increased. No, what you're saying is right because of the other structures which are coming in place at pace. UPI, COVID, vaccine gives a soft edge to India's power. Defense industry gives the hard edge to India's power projection. Both are complementary and it's damn good. And thanks for giving this good point. It's very good. Right. I'll take a few questions. Rational Buddha, good morning. Yogesh, thanks a lot for your advice. I would like everyone to subscribe to Gunner Shot and press the like button and become a member. Right. Sundram Ram, Hans, good morning. Okay. Sai Autovision, Jai Hind. Lofi, good morning. Right. Mrs. Claire, Jai Hind to everyone. Thanks a lot. Right. And Gaurav, also good morning. Right. Let's go. Devi is also, Devi Phoenix is Jai Hind. Okay, M777 key feature is it is relatively low, achieved through the use of titanium and aluminum alloys, making it highly mobile and air portable. Thank you. Yeah, are all these countries are majorly global south? We are winning them by our inclusiveness and mutual respect and trust they have on us. I completely agree. Very interesting that it came from South China Morning Post. I'm so happy you've been telling this for a long time. Cheers, sir. Thank you, Malika. Yeah, yeah. Good morning and happy Sunday. Same to you, wherever you are. Yeah. So there is a lot of unclarity regarding Russia-Ukraine war, loss of man and machine not clear on both sides. Please enlighten us. Okay, I'll do a separate thing on Russia-Ukraine war. Where do you think it's going? As per my thing, it's going nowhere. Both are exhausted. Ukraine is also exhausted. Russia is also exhausted. They are going on principle. You see, that's why you'll see actions are small. The initial thing is gone. For the past 3 years, it's marginal gains, marginal attacks, non-contact warfare. Where there, just by non-contact warfare, you will not finish off a war the way it has gone. But I'll do a separate analysis. It has degenerated into something which will help no one. There are no victors in this war. Everyone is losing, and this I said not now when the war started. Yeah, smile when Lieutenant General says the truth. Pakistan must be crying. I agree with you. Yeah, good morning. Thanks a lot, Rupayan and Ramki. Also, good morning. Hmm. Yeah, are they trying to cozy up to us because of PM's visit, or they have really understood their military incompetence? It seems unlikely. Possible because of they want to get us on their side for the RAC and all that. But this, I think, they have done a blooper. If I were in South China Morning Post, I wouldn't have let this article be published. Chengdu emerged as the number one seller, recently surpassing Lego Metal. Possible. Look, we must understand China did a lot of progress for about 15, 20 years. Very enterprising people. The Chinese are very enterprising. They're caught in a bad system. Understand? I'm now talking little different. I have nothing against the Chinese. The Chinese are hardworking people. They're working hard. They're caught with a very bad system. And that bad system uh, is now retrograde for them. That system was good in the first 5, 10 years of this century, when there was a lot of room for China to expand. And the Chinese expanded. They've got tremendous technology. They've got tremendous skills, everything. The Communist Party gave them a very good, shield or environment to progress up to a point. After that, the Communist Party was useless, is useless. And that is what is killing China today. Very, uh, it's the Communist Party which is killing China. It's not the Chinese people. For example, I'll give you an equivalent even for us. For a long time, the Congress Party made India. What we are, a lot of credit does go to the Congress Party. But at some point of time, the Congress Party was not good for India. And we chose to change the party. See, that's the thing. We chose as a democracy to change the party. We got we experimented with coalitions, got BJP, we're back to a coalition. It is up to us. But in India, we've excised our right. As a result of exercising our right to decide who will govern India, India progresses because every time that guy who's at the top has to prove himself. Otherwise, we have a choice of throwing him out. Unfortunately, Chinese have not had this choice. And that is why they're suffering. Vishwanathan, Good morning. And China is sending a message to US and Pakistan. Maybe, yeah. With when high-tech platforms or vectors are sold to another nation, how is the integrity of platforms, IP and design, as well as operating procedure maintained to ensure leak or no theft? See, the thing is, in every weapon design, uh, it's not easy for anyone to steal it and do it. You need to have a lot of skill for it. Okay, and there are very few countries who can uh, take it. In software, you can control that IP by putting in codes and all that. You can protect. Source codes are still with you, but in hardware, it doesn't happen. But the thing about hardware is, if you don't know the metallurgy, if you don't know the design, you'll never produce it. Okay, so it's difficult. It protects itself. But overall, if you have a capable nation who gets hold of that weapon, they can steal everything. It's possible. Okay. I mean, let me give you a thing. You look at the 105 UK light gun. You look at the 105 American gun. They're the same, identical. You look at the Indian field gun, UK, and you look at the 105 light field gun, India. It is virtual copy of the UK light gun. We copied it. I'm telling you openly, we copied it. Not now, 30 years back. We copied it within 2 years, came out with a gun. And it's still in service today. They're all carbon copies of each other. The only difference is the Indian gun is a little heavier. We could have reduced it over a period of time. We chose not to. It didn't matter us. And it is okay. Okay. So the point is, a capable country will copy. But these small countries don't have that capability. Rohan, good morning. Hmm. Yeah, I agree. सच्चाई चुप नहीं सकती बनावट के असूलों से. And something about कागज के फूलों से ना. खुशबू नहीं आती कागज के फूलों से. वो भी है ना. Sir John Spencer says otherwise. Look, he can say anything. I have no problem. I have no problem with whatever says and against. But I'm giving you logic. Someone has to disprove my logic. John Spencer also says that look, India has come to a different level altogether. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, accept my personal appreciation for exhaustive analysis of current Indian. Yeah, yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. We should target $10 billion in next 5 years. Yeah, we need a structure for that. It's difficult. Okay, let me take the questions. Brahmos is a fantastic missile. Will our defense attache play a big role in Brahmos deal with this? Why only 15 countries? We can have more. Look, the report says at least 15 countries. They would have more. But equally, there's another thing. This is not a Bendica sale that you sell it to everyone whom you want. You can't sell it. Okay. So you will sell it to selectively people whom you want to sell to, who you will get something in return from. It's just not money, it's someone. You can't indiscriminately sell it to people. Trump has now acknowledged India took 5 jets. That look again. I'm not interested in whether Pakistan lost 5 jets or India lost 5 jets. It's irrelevant. But what is relevant? If Pakistan loses 5 jets, it's loss of great capability, and they don't have money to put it back. They don't look. We hit the Rahim Yar Khan base. So far, they have not been able to repair it or make it operational. It's loss of capability. They might have hit 5 jets. Okay, take it that they downed the 6 jets which they claim. Let's take it. Though everyone says no, and I also agree with it. They have not downed 6 jets. Okay, they think they have downed 6 jets. There are good reasons to believe they're not down. But there's something like deception measures which we have done, decoys we have used. That I know. That I know. Uh, the fact is, even given that we lost six, have we lost our capability? Have you lost your capability? No. Can you recuperate from that loss and do? That's what Anil Chauhan said, no, our chief of defense staff. He said, no, it doesn't matter whether you lost or the numbers don't matter. The ability to hit back despite all that, the ability to learn from your mistakes, correct it, and hit Pakistan back the way it did, that matters. That is the strength of the country. Numbers don't matter. You look at Iran. I mean, let's look at it. Iran got so much beating, but didn't it hit back Israel also? It's now coming out Israel has got a walloping. Taking losses is not a great deal. You can take losses. The important thing is, can you recuperate and hit them? That is the more important thing. Yeah. Marutam Roy, thanks a lot. Namaste for joining. Can you share any fun or memorable experiences for your days at India and IMA? I'd be interesting to hear about GC, Shankar, or even Vayosh. Yeah, I can tell you that. I have no problem. So one of these days, I'll tell you. A lot of interesting things. Yeah. They even tested ATAGs. Yes, they went more. Then they've ordered more. Not only from Kalyani, they've ordered from Tata's also. You see, the thing is, Bharat Forge and Kalyani, Baba Kalyani are a little high on media. Tata's isn't. They're also doing as well, incidentally. Sid Matt says, good morning. Sunil Malik says, I agree. Thank you. Vasu Iyengar, good morning. Joined late. It's okay. I'm glad. Right. Yeah, I remember Bharat Ratna awardee Dr. Kalamji and thousands of scientists, engineers, and industry for making India great. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I've served under Dr. Abdul Kalam. Incidentally, I don't know whether you guys know or not. I was just a major, and he was the director of DRDL. He was not a president. He was not at that time anyone great. He was just Dr. Abdul Kalam, director of DRDL, and I was just a major posted on Project Prithvi. And there many times we used to sit across the table and talk and discuss. And especially when I was coordinating the Agni launch, the first Agni launch, I was made a special the coordinating officer for the complete launch. So everyone used to speak to me and discuss AO. And Abdul Kalam also used to be busy whole day with various things, But in the evening, he used to come with me to me always and sit and say, "Tell me what happened today." Morning he could never come, but evening he used to come and tell me. Just tell me what happened, what all happened, where do you think things are going wrong or right? So we used to have that 10-minute talk across my table, long back. Yeah. I remember him from those days. What strategic advantage does Turkey have in antagonizing India? That is religious, that you cannot, it is within their blood. They cannot do anything about it. That's their outlook. Unfortunately, they've taken that line that they will support their Muslim brothers in Pakistan. That's it. They're fools. The Turks have been foolish. China has started building a large dam on Brahmaputra impact. Yeah, I've spoken of all this. Yeah, what's the big deal? There's nothing very great in it. Yeah, I agree. Sylvia nailed it. Yes, I agree with her. Yeah, sir, you're a real serious content producer and being out of the box and actual bring out of the box and actual facts, not drama like other contents. Thanks a lot. And yeah, that's the aim, Rajita, that we need to be factual. And that's why I started this channel. Let me be very honest with you. I started this channel because I found a lot of these channels were talking nonsense. And some of the channels I went and people said, you can talk this, talk that. I said, no, I will do what I have to do. So that is why. And I don't go to TV, right? If I go to TV, I go only on a featured show. Like yesterday, in fact, yeah, today morning, I released one, which I did with Gaurav Sawant. Gaurav Sawant asked me to come and speak about artillery, right? Have a look at it. I feature in the second half because in the first half, General Deepak Kapoor was a chief features. But in the second half, I've spoken about what's the future of artillery. And people listen to me. And I would like to talk only with authority. If I don't have authority, I don't talk. If I'm not giving you reference material, I'll not talk. I'll give you my opinion based on reference material and analysis. And again, I'm very happy that most of what I've said has come true. In 4 to 5 years' time, I anticipate ASEAN will buy most stuff from us. I believe they want to maintain interoperability. Yeah, I agree with you. And this is something which I've heard from people from that area. Okay. Sir should make a video on Turkey. I'll make it. But look, let me tell you, Turkey has really peripheral importance for us. Don't focus on Turkey. Our focus should be Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Afghanistan, China, Pakistan, Myanmar. We need to take action here. Middle East, Southeast Asia. Turkey is far away. Then in the big powers, you look at France, Germany, USA, uh, Japan, Australia. These are the ones which we are looking at. Quad. You need resources. Look at Africa. Look at South America. Turkey offers you nothing. Zero. We need bases in Pacific, Atlantic, and Mediterranean region. We don't need at this point of time. We don't have that capability. We shouldn't attempt it. What we need to do is catch the Indian Ocean. I think I'll do a program on the Indian Ocean again. Okay, because I did this sometime back. I think it's gone out of focus. Why we should focus on Indian Ocean is something which we need to understand, and how we are focusing on Indian Ocean is something we need to understand, and why we need USA. Let me be very honest with you. We need USA to control the Indian Ocean. No other country can help us, and USA needs us to control the Indian Ocean. See, we might uh, trust or don't trust USA is a different story. You might uh, you might feel that Trump is unreliable, is also fine, but we need each other for many good things. That is what we have to build on, and that is where diplomacy comes in. That is where astuteness comes in. Yeah, great cartoon as usual. Is India making a hierarchy of customers? Is this pure capitalism, or is India going to use this? Yeah, I told you we are doing the great game already. Yeah, Tejovati, thanks a lot. Okay, let me see. This is very strange. CCP never admits openly like this. Does this reflect the ongoing? Maybe, maybe. I really can't analyze why they've done it. They must have. This must look for all its greatness. No, they make. huge mistakes. And I think this is a mistake the way they put it out. India makes weapons, China makes toys. I think I agree with you. Oh, where do we stand in high tech chip manufacturing? Nowhere. Let's be very honest. But does it matter me at this point of time? At this point of time, it doesn't. We should be realistic. We shouldn't compete in a track where we have no locus standi. Let's build slowly. And chip manufacturing is not the end of the world. Yeah. Are you from Andhra? Yeah, I am from Andhra basically. Can this be a Chinese trap praising India's defense system strength? Look, I told you, there is this move of RIC. They want us to be on their side. Yeah, I agree. But this article blows them away. I don't know why they've published it also. What is the US role in Sindoor military wise, especially because of statements by US president? They did nothing. They were just trying to mediate between India and Pakistan. And Pakistan went to them. After Pakistan went to them, they came to us. Then we told them if Pakistan wants peace, please tell them to come to the DGMO. That's the thing. If I put it in simple terms, this is it. And they would have been monitoring what's happening. On that, there's no doubt. That's all. Okay. Yeah, yeah. The article in South China Morning Post was written by Junaid Kajju, and Junaid Kajju is a freelance journalist based. I completely agree with you. But their editorial thing is with them. I mean, you should see the kind of propaganda which is coming out of South China Morning Post. I, anyone can write on South China Morning Post. I agree with you. But the content, they're not free. They're not a free press. Some of the articles which come out of South China Morning Post, which I don't show you, are complete Chinese propaganda. And the South China Morning Post is 5-10 years back, was quite a free kind of a system. But today it is completely controlled. That's why I say they've made a blooper. What do you think about IMEC? We'll talk about it little later. Don't worry. It's not at it's still at this point of time it's in limbo. We'll look at it. Thanks a lot for your compliment. Yeah, yeah. I agree 100% with you. No country can survive where people don't have decision making ability for their future. China is doomed to fail. I called it nearly in early 2000s. I see it coming. I agree with you completely. Yeah, agree absolutely with you for having multiple choices to lead. There must be someone in China to lead democracy like old monks, princelings, please opine. I will talk to you separately on what's the future of China. I've been speaking of it. Maybe I will, I will get my friend, uh, Rajiv Narayanan. Both of us will have a discussion on this as to where Chinese political system is going. We'll talk of it because that will take me a whole session if I get into it. Yeah, Vijay Pula says like, share, and subscribe. Thanks a lot, Vijay. Mm. You're a Star Wars fan, Yoda Shankar. No, no, don't get me there. I'm happy to be a Lieutenant General of the Indian Army, retired. When will we fix our electoral system? Well, we have fixed quite a lot on our electoral system. I mean, let me tell you, for someone who's watched elections from early days to now, the first election I remember going to is when I went with my grandfather. I was a baby. I still remember vague thing. He going, and we going, and he put people getting thing in a municipal school near my house. That was the polling booth, and he used to take me along, and I remember that vaguely. From then to now, a lot of things have changed. I've conducted three elections in toughest conditions in Assam, in J&K, and Punjab, and in high, conditions where militancy was high. We work well. Our electoral system is good. Don't worry. How much we are advanced in memory metals? We are fairly advanced. Let me put it at that. Uh, we have a good base, but are we at the top end? We are not. Yeah, we have a long way to move before celebrating a lot of things. Yeah, I agree with you. On that, I have no doubt. Look, at every stage in life, you need to celebrate. You, you see, every man or woman becomes great only towards the end of its life. Okay, that does that mean you celebrate only when you become old, or why do you celebrate a birthday? Because at every point of journey in your life, you celebrate small things which happen, and ultimately, when you become old, you say you can't celebrate. There's nothing to celebrate. You don't celebrate death, do you? I'm talking philosophy. So at every point, when good things happen, we must celebrate. And today is not celebration. I'm not celebrating. This is vindication of the rot which has been thrown at us. Vindication of rot. Yeah. General, is it not possible China itself is behind this article? I told you, yes, possible. One of the things. Yeah. Can we sell Brahmos to Egypt? We could, but that's a political decision. You see, many of these things are political decisions. He seems extremely happy today since he played a major role in testing. No, look, I didn't test. I didn't only was not there for testing Brahmos. I commanded a Brahmos regiment. Please understand this operational conditions. I inducted a complete lot of regiments in uh, Indian Army as a DG artillery. I paved way. I've had a relationship with Brahmos for almost 20 years, 25 years. I'm not happy because of that. That is a different happiness. Today I'm happy not because of Brahmos. Today I'm happy because what has come out in their press. It doesn't matter who's written it. I mean, incidentally, the Chinese guys get our people to write in their press. Incidentally, a lot of people from India write in Chinese media. They wrote nonsense. Like there's a chap called S.L. Kantan who's a communist. Then that fellow, that chap who runs that Force magazine. People keep, he's considered a intellectual by Chinese media. So a lot of people can write, but ultimately it's the Chinese media. No, they're projecting something which is Chinese. That's the important thing. Why have South China Morning Post allowed this article to come out? Is it due to internal rift? Is it due to come to closer to India, or is it just stupidity? We don't know. Yeah, sir, success of Sindoor is Akash defense system. We should sell it. Yeah, that's happening. That's also happening. Don't worry. Okay. Request to do a show on entire missile system of ours. Okay, I'll do that. I've done it once, but I'll do it again. Does UAE really need 80 Rafales else we can use it? Well, that's their requirement. Uh, we can't stop them. And that's a deal which is going through. We can't really stop them from doing what they want. Sir, thanks for all the knowledge shared this month. You're a guru. Thanks a lot. Okay. Great work. Feel uh, proud of Bharat. Thanks a lot, X-Man. So, yeah, we need to be proud of each other. As simple as that. Yeah. How will you compare dishonesty of USA, Russia, and China? Okay. China is completely dishonest. Uh, Russia and let me give you my personal view. USA and Russia will be dishonest at one level, but at another level, they're completely honest and they're completely reliable. Okay, uh, let me give you an example because why am I with USA? With Russia, we have a lot of. They are quite open. I've had many interactions with both. We are okay. You know, in the early days, we bought this weapon locating radar from ANTPQ-37 from USA. At one point of time, it was not functioning in high altitudes. So I called them, told them repair. A lot of problems. 2 3 years we had issues. Once when I was dealing with them for M777, I told them, I said, tell me, why should I buy your weapon? Right? Because neither, if that WLR is the, benchmark, then I'm at a loss. I paid so much for you, and it's not working. And what's the point of your saying it's the best weapon locating radar if it doesn't work for me? And why should I buy a howitzer from you? And right, those guys went back. They were hurt. They were very hurt. They went back. They came back after a week or 10 days. I don't remember which now. I'm going back long back. They said, "Sir, will you help us make sure that this weapon locating radar works?" I said, "Why?" He says, "You also have certain problems." So they gave out their problems. I said, "I'll fix them." So we put a joint team together and to fix it. After that, till date, that radar has been functioning very well within its limitations. There are limitations. It's an old radar now. I'm talking of something which is already 20 years old. Beautiful. And they set things up for us. They said, we'll never hear this from you again. It is a matter of honor for them. And of course, M777, I said, forget about this. I might still buy this, but this is my opinion about you. And then they reacted. So it's a matter of building trust in most of these cases. Yeah. Yeah. Ingeborg Malik, good morning from Germany. I am glad that you're on to still listening. Right. Yeah. Let me dispel this thought, Duncan Lee. SCMP is a Hong Kong newspaper established when the English colonized Hong Kong and still a great source for biased Western. Sorry, I don't agree with you. The narrative today, which is coming out of South China Morning Post, is completely Chinese. Be very clear about it. And to prove, I will show you propaganda articles from South China Morning Post in my next analysis of China. Yeah. Why do you think government is still keeping quiet? How many jets we lost? Look, we might have lost one or two, not more. That I'm very sure. That I'm very confident of. Yeah, Army Brat, watching you from Canada, doing a great job. Thanks a lot. Your credentials as Lieutenant General in DGRT is greater than visiting professor of IIT Madras. I think they're both at par. They're both at par, and you'll understand why early next month. Just wait. Yeah, this guy Praveen Sani, this is a bugger. He's supposed to be a great thinker by China. How can India become Atmanirbhar in heavy machinery and semiconductors? Why there is slowness in semiconductor domain in India? There are issues in this which I'll go into another day because to some extent I know we are trying to build a fab through IIT Madras. There are many other issues. We have our labor issues, we have our environment issues. You need water, you need infrastructure, and many other things. Thank you for sharing. I feel so happy and proud. Yeah. Yeah, however weak inside, they want to uphold the facade of their power projection. When do you presume this facade will completely shatter after Taiwan? No, it's already shattered. Please, I don't consider China a power at all. It's a declining power. Look, not one of the IIT professors is worth an army general. Why call yourself a visiting professor? I'm not a visiting professor, incidentally, Arunachal. I'm a professor of practice. That's the designation. I've been there for 8 years. And I think I've done a lot for the army and for IIT and for the nation uh, as a professor. And I've contributed to the army. And, as a lieutenant general, I did a lot for the army. But what I'm now contributing is also equally good. That's why. Thanks a lot, Sham, for your contribution. Uh, Sir, slightly different topic. Does India drone attack as a message only Chinese and it's supported by? I'll talk of this separately. At this point, we'll stick to. Why don't you ever call Colonel Ajay Reinhardt? Who's he? Why should I call a chap whom I've never met in my life? Please understand. A chap who I don't know, one. Number two, I don't know his professional capability. Right? If he's a colonel and he has professional capability, I would have known him. I don't know him. I don't know him from Adam and Eve. So why should I call him? I don't want you to get to be talking to people who I cannot vouch for quality. He might be good, I don't know. Can we see an independent Tibet in near future? I doubt. I'll be very honest. Why? Why I doubt is because it's up to the Tibetans. And they have this opportunity in the next 5, 10 years to do that. If they get their act together, it's possible. And unfortunately, if you go into Tibetan history, they lost their independence because of themselves, not because of Chinese. The hard fact, we should understand the hard facts out of emotion. Can we have someone talk about Safran and turbofan engines? Yeah, we'll do. I'll get Marshal Chaudhary to speak about it. Okay. Okay. I think we've gone through the whole lot. Thanks a lot uh, for joining in. Join in today. We'll be doing the show at about 8:30 with P Gurus and right and Shreya RG. And let's see. I'm sure Jan Dushant will join, and I also hope this chap Raji will join. We'll have a good evening. Till then, have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. If you are in this part of the world, enjoy your Saturday evening. If you're otherwise, or have a great day. Thank you.